In 1555, in an obscure corner of France, Nostradamus began to write a series of mysterious verses, full of strange ideas. Now it's claimed these were astonishingly accurate predictions of future events. Predicting cataclysms and disasters hundreds of years before they happen.
Nostradamus stands head and shoulders above the other prophets and seers.
He has been credited with virtually predicting the entire world history since his death up to now and well beyond.
But who was this extraordinary man? And were his verses really the most accurate prophecies ever told? We like to think we live in a rational scientific age, a world away from medieval superstition. That view, though, was challenged by the events of September 2001.
Southern gentlemen.
9/11 was the most shocking event in recent history. But in its immediate aftermath, millions turned not to science or rational explanations. They sought out instead the words of a long-dead prophet. On the internet in the days after 9/11, the name that received most searches wasn't Osama bin Laden or George Bush. It was Nostradamus. The idea that Nostradamus could help shed light on recent events may seem absurd, yet that's exactly what his supporters claim. Nostradamus' reputation hangs on the almost 1,000 four-line verses or quatrains he wrote. These are full of cryptic references. But to believers in Nostradamus, they are actually a secret code which predicts all manner of future events, including 9/11. Mario Redding is one of the foremost supporters of Nostradamus. When it comes to 9/11, he believes it's foretold in detail.
A fire from the center of the earth will shake the towers of the new city. As a result, two great rocks will fight a long war. Until Arethusan Springs bloody the river afresh. Well, every line has links to the 9/11 disaster there. Fire from the center of the earth, that's the petroleum that was the basis of the explosion, will shake the towers of the new city is more or less self-evident, but the new city was in the new world, and Nostradamus was fully aware of this at the time. Two great rocks are the two great rocks of Christianity and Islam, which will fight a great war, and a long war which will continue for many, many years. This, I have to say, impressed me enormously.
Redding believes Nostradamus' verses predict everything from the Great Fire of London through to Hurricane Katrina. Others disagree and think Nostradamus' words are being misused by his supporters.
They know that none of it's true, but it's just an easy way of making a living.
So was Nostradamus a prophet or not? Nostradamus was born in 1503 in Provence in southern France. It was a troubled time.
When you look around at actual living conditions for Nostradamus in Provence, as with everywhere in Europe, it was absolutely filthy. People never washed. The church preached against bathing. They were covered in lice, spent most of their daylight hours scratching. It was a short life of squalor and superstition, where death haunted every living moment.
From the start, Nostradamus was marked out as different.
He came from Jewish stock, which meant really he was in the second tier. His grandparents had probably been Orthodox Jews who had actually converted to Christianity. But even so, people would always remember. He will have been worried about the church watching his every move.
Nostradamus' early life, though, seems remarkably mundane. By his 20s, he'd married, settled down, and trained as a doctor. He even opened his own apothecary shop.
You have to imagine it's like being something between a grocer and a pharmacist. Anything from sweets and candies, wax, all kinds of stuff. Pharmacy shops were great places for gossip. Gambling took place there, lots and lots of betting on things like whether a baby was going to be born male or female. All that kind of predictive stuff certainly takes place in pharmacy shops.
By the end of the 1530s, Nostradamus was just another happily married shop owner. But then something happened which set his life on a very different path.
I think there's no doubt that the death of Nostradamus' wife and children in the plague outbreak at Agen had a profound effect on him. And I think it did trigger something in him, because it was from that moment that he started seeing his revelations.
Stricken by grief, Nostradamus set out on a journey through Europe. For over a decade he traveled, absorbing the ferment of new and occult ideas spreading across the continent. From Jewish mysticism to astrological techniques. When Nostradamus returned to Provence in the 1550s, he was ready to publish his greatest work. The Prophecies, a book that would change history. In 1555, the book appeared which would in time make Nostradamus famous across the world. The Prophecies. 942 dire predictions.